Hello walking fans, it's Steve, the ponytail pensioner, doing my first ever fully urban walk in my home city of Bristol. I started off at a modern shopping centre, walked on to see some 300 million year old rocks, tramped on a bit further and saw some ancient burial mounds, and I finished off my delightful day in Bristol by meeting up with my best beloved down at Ashton Gate. Join me for today's walk. Well, just putting my boots on for a local Bristol walk. Well, off we go. Short walk to the bus stop. Oh, leaving the village with a short bus ride across to Filton Airport, basically. Y6 cancelled. Scampering to get another Y bus. Fuck. Had to run here. Well, total rerouting here, walking fans. Well, that was an unplanned deviation, walking fans, and into the bear pit. Ain't that lovely? I like that over there. Good Rovers colour scheme to the lights here as we come out the far side of the bear pit towards the Cheltenham Road, or Stokes Croft. Well, it's all gone a bit peaked on bus-wise. I've got to catch a 75 now, which is going to take me half to 3/4 of an hour to get to where it should have taken me 20 minutes from Frampton. 75 boarded. Then a bloody great long bus ride to do. The walk proper commences from here, Cribbs Causeway. Bus station, bus depot at the mall. A place that I come to every now and again. But well, it's one of those places that I find a bit soulless. One big positive though is a fantastic flooring stone they use. Some wonderful granites from Scandinavia. So I'm going to be up close and personal to the M5 for a short while before I can get underneath it and pick up the community forest path, I think. Well, that's a serious big interchange. Negotiated. Bristol West, that's me. 6 miles to Clifton, walking fans, 6 miles. Not 6 miles on this. And under the M5 for the first time. Not sure if I go under it again or over it. Well, I've just walked up to the 220 feet or so of Spanorium Hill, the hill of the Spaniard. And I've got my first proper view of the mouth of the Severn, the beginning of the Bristol Channel, and Sevenside. Down below this common ground, up on the hilltop. So I'm glad to be in something approaching countryside at the moment. It's my first Bristol walk. I started off from Frampton, had to catch 2 buses instead of 1, travelled 17 miles before dismounting, or disbussing, at Cribbs Causeway, the mall, from where I've been walking. And I've had a very pleasant walk and picked up the community forest path at Commuting Greenfield, place I've never been to, let alone heard of. Well, this is altogether unexpected. This is Berwick Lodge, and I suspect it's a wedding venue. What a nice fountain. Alas, no water. Seems astonishing with the amount of rain we've had in Bristol. Well, earlier on, I went under the M5. Going over the M5 is a bloody sight noisier, has to be said. I can't complain about the M5, I really can. It's my gateway to walking in the southwest, and pretty much every coast path walk I did completing the SWCP, Andy also, the M5 was a central plank in our walking adventures. West Bristol awaits. So there, right there, that's the runway that Concorde took off from. Now being turned into a village, housing, and the long-awaited big venue for music in Bristol. I'll believe it when it actually opens. I'm on the edge of Braintree and Hembury, and I've just took my first wrong turning. This is the path I should have taken just now. Silly me. Oh, just crossing this railway line, which is the line down to Sevenside. Big area of local authority housing around here. Good to see. A lovely green oasis this. Hembury Parish Church. One tabletop tomb, two tabletop tombs. A super extravagant tabletop tomb. They must have been important to themselves. Old mortuary. Well, at times, if you're lucky, you can get this lovely walk to yourself. And just to prove my point about the Hazelbrook, here's your limestone. Dipping, I think, there it is, there's the bedding. Carboniferous limestones are dipping pretty much northeast in these parts, as shown on my cunning little device here, which I bought in light of a bit of geographical wrong directioning up in the Cambrian Mountains a few weeks ago. Underlain by limestone rock stream and barely a trickle of water, most of it seeping through the cracks and fissures of this often called mountain limestone. I'm still in the Blaze Castle grounds. I've gone a bit off-piste. It's a bit gnarlier and overgrown here. Yeah, so this is great. Feels ridiculously wild. So no more than, I don't know, 50, 100 yards away from folk out for a dog walk or a little stroll or a jog. It's a great thing for a city to keep places like this wild. A pleasing little interlude in today's urban mode walk. I have to say, I'm feeling very dappled. Slogging up to Blaze Castle Fort, I think, probably Iron Age. Somewhere up there. Press on and enjoy what we see. All very civilised, this part of the ascent to the Iron Age fort. Warm work today, walking fans. Warm work. Well, at this point, somewhat underwhelmed by the fort. Not a lot to see. Can't see any banks. It's a natural feature. We're on top of a limestone ridge, surrounded by woodland. This is an area of just straightforward calcareous grassland. Pleasant nevertheless. King's Western Hill. So away that side, so going that side of me, is Commuting and the prosperous western suburbs of Bristol. And away to that direction, back towards the Severn, or back towards the Bristol Channel, I think, is Avonmouth. And just the other side of this hill, L Dub, Lawrence Weston. I've just had a wave of nostalgia. This, I believe, this spot here is part of the route for the Bristol Cathedral School of the 1970s school cross-country race. In our requisite white shirts, black shorts, sensible daps. Nobody really had running daps in those days. If you're really on it, you might be lucky enough to have a pair of Dunlop Green Flash. But I coveted Adidas. The marketing from the World Cups had worked on me. Of course, still are. I'm seeing some signs of tumescence ahead. By this lovely tree here is a burial mound, absolutely covered with stingers, and you wouldn't want to pick out of those stingers. And as soon as you get one burial mound, along comes another straight away. Should get good signal here then. So I'm just going to check if you get good signal. 5G, whatever that means, but only 2 bars. Not as good as it might be. Well, just crossed the handsome golf links of Shirehampton. I'm now turning east into Bristol. Oh, I think I'm popping out into Sea Mills. Again, a part of Bristol I really don't know. St Edith's and Sea Mills. What a beautifully maintained, prim and proper church this is. Everything looks great in the sunshine. So just on the River Trim, that's the portway above us, and that's where the Trim flows into the Avon. That's the railway bridge you can see. Climbing up the eastern side of the Trim Valley. I'm in Sneed Park, and feels very Sneed. And there it is, my chosen route. All very bijou here. Well, I reckon I've done 10 miles walking, 17 miles in a bus, but 10 miles walking, and it must be time for a break soon. So this is one of the exclusive suburbs of Bristol, as you would expect. The parish church in Sneed Park is impressive. That's a great lich gate, and there's my chosen bench. Bit of leakage. Well, off we head again. Just leaving St Mary's Church, Stoke Bishop, or Sneed Park, and heading uphill to the Downs. Uphill we go. Up to the Downs. Done bits of urban walking, the likes of Newquay, Bath, Plymouth, Weymouth. It's an urban walking, new adventure for me. It's too early to make my mind up about it. It's fun learning about parts of the city, or experiencing parts of the city that I don't really know, which is more than I care to admit, to be honest. At the moment it's pretty quiet, but it's difficult to escape the sort of drone of the motor car. One of the beauties of Coast Path and many of the other walks I do is you don't hear the motor car. You hear other things, principally bird song, drone of aircraft perhaps, agricultural machinery quite a lot, lawn mowers, loud dogs. I've been on tarmac for quite a lot of it now today. That's not really what it's all about for me, but not unpleasant. You move along quite swiftly, and it's a different discipline this, so I'm just going to have to accept that. So urban walking, new colour on my walking palette, a new bow for my string, no, new string for my bow. We're coming out of Pitch and Pay Lane, cared for by friends of the phone box. Rather nice. No offence to the name, but it would have to be a Julian road in this part of Bristol, wouldn't it? Palatial, I guess, is the word. Ah, the Downs at last. There it is. There's the water tower. One of the landmarks of the Downs. And it's a Saturday afternoon. And to be honest, there's not that many folk around. After 1,700 plus miles of walking around Britain's countryside, mainly in the south, it amazes me still that a lot of folk just don't make anything like the use they should do, or could do perhaps I should say. Not for me to preach on this. So at the Clifton Downs, part of Clifton Downs, and I'm descending. Well, alas, no more. Sad, eh? Necessary, perhaps. And it's beginning to show the signs of wear and tear that a neglected building always does. Bit of a pointless detour there, walking fans. Well, still in Clifton. This is Royal York Crescent and the beautiful ironwork and canopies and a surprising England flag as well. The Residents Association will be up in arms about that, I'm for sure. Well, I'm descending from Clifton now. Gonna make my way back down to the mouth of the floating harbour, basically. Cornwallis Crescent this, and a pretty 50-50 smattering of Green and Labour. Just about the Greens got slightly more posters up, I reckon. So this is a final test of the old knees and shins and upper thighs, in fact legs in general. And it's not coast path walking this, but it's just as shattering on your legs, and there's some geezer just cycling up. Fair play on that. It's got to be electric, surely. Wow! Cycling up Granby Hill is awesome. Hope Chapel. Good sentiment. Very much last knockings. I've got some musical accompaniment as well. That's great. One of the bonded warehouses. The old bridge across the Avon. You could call that, if you're being romantic, chocolate brown. Well, this is Greville Smythe Park, and that's a bunch of very fit people running up and down a bit of a slope with a sandbag on their back. And somewhere over, I think there, right there, is the Wholesome Hub. Well, this is the end of my marathon walk today. At the Wholesome Hub, what could be better? Anyway, that's my walking done for today. I reckon about a 15 miler. Urban walking, undecided about it, to be honest. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video of my Bristol walk, first one I've done so far. It won't be the last. Give it a thumbs up, make a comment below, that'll be great, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time, walking fans.